Good afternoon, fret friends. I have a nice easy one for a change, and it is a really easy one, and it's a bass, and it is an Epiphone Thunderbird. Is it a Thunderbird? I think that's what they're called. I've had a couple of these in my time. I've had the Pro version, which is made in Korea, and this is, I believe, the just regular version, but I think these are made in China now. Made in China now. Anyway, what a beautiful thing. This is the bolt-on neck version, not the Pro version, but a lovely bass all the same. Why is it in? Well, it's in for a setup. The bridge is not set right, the action is really quite high, and the owner just wants a setup, so that's all we're going to do. I am going to check the frets. This is going to be that easy a video, or that simple a video, more than likely. It is probably not going to go on my YouTube channel, but just in case it does, this is the introduction. And I always video everything just to keep a record anyway, so if nothing else, if it doesn't get on YouTube, I have a record of having the guitar in, and it's something for the owner to see in due time. So one thing I've noticed is the strings are slightly out of line. They are closer to the edge on this side than they are on that side, so maybe we need to just reset the neck, which I will do. The action's high. The neck looks to be pretty straight, which should be enough relief in there. So all I need to do basically is lower the action, tune it in. I am going to get the strings off first to check the frets. If the frets do need any attention, we are going to sort them out. But as things are, and if the frets are okay, it's a £40 setup, and it really will be that simple. If it needs any more work than that, this video will make the YouTube channel because it's probably going to need fret work. So let's see where we are. I'm going to get it plugged in, give it a check. I'm going to check the frets. I should probably check the frets on camera, and we'll take it from there. So it is not some brilliant news regarding the price of the job, because it's my opinion that the bass needs a fret level. It's a 35-inch scale length, so I've got the notch straight edge there. I know the camera's a bit close, so you can't see. I think you can see it now. I'm just going to check that neck is dead straight, and that neck is always got a little bit of back bow in there. And that's a shame because I've already given it a little twist. Give it another little twist. It is a two-way truss rod. Right, now we've got a little relief in there. It's good. That is good. So we need to just turn it back just a tad. A little bit higher there as well. So it's not a perfectly straight neck, so we try and balance it and straighten it as best we can. That is pretty good. Still seeing a little bit of back bow, so I do need, again, to just bring it up till that back bow is completely gone. And that looks pretty good. That feels pretty good. And that is pretty good. So straight neck, marker pen. I'm hoping you can hear from where you are. That's high in the middle. I mark 3 areas, 1, 2, 3. 1 furthest away, 3 nearest me, 2 in the middle. That's 1 high spot on 1 fret. There's 3 high spots because it's middle and area 1, area 3. So 3 high spots on 2 frets, so you get how it works. Same with that one, two places, 2 and 3 are high. Same with this one again, areas 2 and 3. So we already have 1, 2, 3, 4 high frets with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 high spots over 4 frets. High all the way across. It's now 5 frets and 10 high spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So it's looking like a complete fret level. Once I get above 5, I would recommend a complete fret level. Here you go, listen to this one. Yeah, we are going to be a fret level. More expensive route, but get it done, get it out of the way. See now this fret all the way across, so we are now getting to a substantial amount of frets. And I see this a lot, it's not out of the ordinary to have a guitar that's never been fret level before for it to need frets working on. Areas 2 and 3 on that one also. That one and all areas on this one. So we have a substantial amount of high spots over many frets. So let's count the frets. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 frets with high spots. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21. 22 high spots over 10 frets. The reason I say 22 high spots is I do number the frets. 2 in the centre, 1 on the far side, 3 on the near side. So we have three areas of height. This one, for instance, is high all the way across. So areas 1, 2 and 3. This one just area 2, this one 2, 3, 2, 3, 2, 3, all 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3. So many high spots over 10 frets. I'm going to recommend a complete fret level. I can't spot level these. For instance, this whole fret needs altering. If I take the height of that one fret, it's going to alter its relationship with these 2 frets and with these 2 frets on the other side, because we always measure 3. So if I remove material from this one, which is high, it's going to alter the relationship between those 2 and even that one further along. So the best way to do the job is to level the whole lot, and then we know we have a consistent height along the whole length of the neck. So we always make sure that the neck is level using our notch straight edge. So I'm going to recommend a fret level. I'll put the job on hold until I've heard back from the owner. And so this will be a video that is going to go on YouTube, because it is not a small job anymore. So it's a good job we filmed it as we did. I'm just prepping the base or the neck for leveling the frets, and what we need to do first is, well, I've removed the nut, I've taped up the body of the guitar because we will be filing over it. I've decided not to remove the neck in this instance. Sometimes I could remove the neck and bolt this to a piece of MDF and use it that way, but because it's a bass and because the fingerboard is quite high off the body of the bass, I'll be able to get to these frets really easily. We've covered the guitar anyway, or the body, just in case I do slip with a file. I won't slip with a file, by the way. But what we need to do first is we need to get the neck dead straight. So I have a notch straight edge, and I'm just checking. I've already got it straight. I'm just checking again. Got a lovely bright light behind, so I can see for any gaps underneath. Once I'm happy that that is straight, which I am, we can start leveling. So just move some things out of the way. I'll get my light over there a little bit more. There's the nut. There's my video controller. So we're just going to grab the fret rocker and just check the frets that I've marked off again. I'm going to start from this end. I can see everything all marked up still, so we're listening for a rock. Just to show nothing's changed in the last couple of days. That's 3 frets there. This fret all the way across should be. Just show that nothing's changed at all. so you can hear the rock. Which one down there, someone. So all the frets are rocking. Did I mention something like 17 high spots over 10 or 11 frets? I can't remember. But anyway, I'm going to show something I have brought back into the fold. This is, I now call a Big Bertha because my fret leveling beam, I have a new one, a smaller one, this which I made in Greece, but this is my old one. And one of the sides had gone not straight, and I've had it re-ground or re-skimmed, so I've got it back. So we've got perfectly flat edges, that side and that side. It's a piece of 2x1 steel box section. 240 grit on there, 400 grit on there, and I'm going to be using this one. Quite a heavy piece of kit this, so you don't need to press down, you let this do the work. But before we get to using the leveling beam, which is a brilliant piece of kit by the way, I've had this, I think I've had this about 6 years now. That piece of steel on its own I think cost me £30. But before we get to using that, we're going to go in with this beautiful piece of kit here, which is from Chris Allsop on eBay. It is a perfectly ground flat piece of steel with diamond encrusted, it's a diamond file. I believe this will be 300 grit. It is really smooth, it is perfectly flat. This removes a lot of gear, and I do this to spot level to remove the height of the frets I've marked up, and I'll do the main leveling when I'm doing the whole board together. I'll use this one just to even everything off. So this is going to remove from all the areas I've got marked up. And the good thing about this is there will be resistance until I've got the part I need level down to the level it needs to be. So once the main material is moved, it'll be easy to push, and I'll know that we've basically got it as low as I need it. So I'm really concentrating on this area, on the middle of this fret. And I'll just go and check. And it's still a little bit high. Still a little bit. I think we'll find that that is now level. It's not quite level. I'm going to grab, could do with a cloth over here really, but I've got a piece of paper there which is good. And we're there with that one. So we're just going to go across basically the whole length. I'll keep an eye on which one of the black frets. And this is just getting everything close. I'm not really pressing down, I've got a gently firm press down, but nothing heavy. Letting the file do the work. Probably see filings all over the fingerboard now. And I think we'll find we're pretty much where we need to be with that. I should have put a cloth underneath this, but I can pull this off and give it a shake anyway in a short while. So again, I'm going to go across all of the frets, just checking. And I can see where material has been removed. See there, I needed to remove a little bit there. looking pretty good. The frets that I've worked on, this is hardly anything off it, but this has got a flat spots across there and there, so that's where we move material. And we're looking to be pretty much flat. If there's any high spots, I'll go across them again, but we're looking pretty good. This one's a flat one right here. And again here, but we are looking pretty good. So I think that's all the high spots. Now we can tell where you've done because there's a lot wider flat part there than there is on these frets. And that's looking very good. We're pretty much where we need to be. So what we're going to do now is, for consistency's sake, to make sure that we are correct, and let me just do something I should have done earlier. This should have been underneath the neck by rights, but you know what? No great shakes, we can do it this way. Grab a brush, clothes brush, old clothes brush, just brush everything off. This time we're going to go onto it, onto the floor, or onto me. The good thing of that is, it's not going underneath the guitar. I can give this a shake, move this out of the way. This old T-Toe sees some action, I can tell you. It gets used on fret jobs, polishing jobs and all sorts, and there you go, that's what I should have done earlier. So right, what we're going to do now is, with all the high spots down and more or less level, I'm going to grab a permanent marker, or a Sharpie, as most of you will know them. I'm going to go across the top of all of the frets and we're going to level the whole lot. And this way, using the levelling beam, if I've got them all consistently level, we'll remove all of this in just a few strokes. If there's any pen left, it means we've got high frets somewhere, or even high frets somewhere. It's a little bit less expensive than doing a guitar, this, because the bass is easier to set up, so I knocked some money off the setup price. The guitar setup is £50, the bass setup is £40, so instead of this being £115 for a fret level and setup, it's going to be £105. So here we go, with my super duper levelling beam. I've not used this for a while. 240 grit that side, 400 grit that side, and this is just let this do the work. It's got its own weight, listen. There's enough weight in there. And we're just going to go up and down the neck, following the radius. So we remove all of the pen. More work to be done at this end because the frets are closer together, so you need a few more strokes at this end. I'm not pressing down, just letting the beam do the work. And that, to me, looks like all of the pen is gone off the top of the frets, which is fantastic news. It means we've got them level all down the whole length of the neck. So what I'm going to do now is, we're going to check the radius, and how we do that is we'll pen them up again. Not going to go across with a 400 grit yet. We're going to basically make sure the radius is right. So I'm going to find out what radius this is. I should have already known, but I've not checked. If I were to hazard a guess, I'd go with a 10 or 12 on a base. Could be a 14, but I'm going to hazard a guess at 10-inch radius. Sorry, 14-inch radius. Should be flatter, but we might find it's a 12. I'm not going to assume it's 14, I'm thinking 14. I like a nice flat radius. That's my on a base. But don't quote me on 14, it's just a guess. And I will go online and check anyway. 9.5, 12, 14. I think that's pretty much, I think that's almost definitely a 14-inch radius. Okay. I will check, I have to check on my phone while I'm here right now. Ask Google for what you want. Epiphone, Thunderbird, radius. And I'm looking for anything that says either 350 millimeters or 14 inches. 12-inch radius. Rosewood fingerboard with a 12-inch radius and a 34 scale length. Well, that's not true, because that's a 35-inch scale length. Still saying 12-inch radius. Bear with me. Go look at the underturns advert. That's a 12-inch radius, it's saying. Okay, we'll go with 12-inch. It definitely is not a 34-inch scale length, because if it is, that'll fit, and it doesn't. It's a 35. There you go, 35-inch scale length. Okay, check the 12. Wood can alter over time, but I could have just read it wrong. The light's not bright in here. 12 kind of work. 12 works. I'd have still gone with a 14, but as it says 12, we're going to go with 12. I'm going to go and get a 12-inch radius beam. I hope it's got sandpaper on it. Using my old guitars and woods. 10, 12 is 12. There you go. 12-inch radius beam. Radius on this arc there. Now what we're looking to do with this is to remove the pen in just a couple of swoops. It's been used before, not used that often. I've used this for radius and a fingerboard, so it's been used down the centre. But we want this basically to remove the pen quite quickly. And it's not doing. Still pen in the middle at this end. I'll rip the paper there, that's a shame. We'll do a half right that way and that way. Still got some pen in the middle here. Let me grab my brush. So it did need, the frets did need re-radiusing slightly. And that is all of the pen off. So we've got the right radius on there now. Get a magnifying glass on there just so I can see where we are. That's fine. We are there. And what we're going to do now is we are going to finish off with the levelling beam again. More pen. I'd like to see bigger frets on these bases. Quite slim frets. I still think this is a 14 radius board because we remove more from the edges now than we have anywhere else. But anyway, we're going to finish off with the 400 grit, which is going to remove some of the deeper scratches. If everything's level, again, just a few strokes, shouldn't take much at all. Following the radius, it's why we overlap this side, because we're following the radius from this width. So when we come down here, we do slightly overlap the edges. But let's just have a look at how this has gone. And that is all of the pen gone already. It's why we know we've got a fantastic level across the whole length of the neck. And that is done. The frets are levelled, the frets are radiused, and now we need to recrown them. To recrown, by recrowning, what we've done is we've flattened the frets this way. We need to rebuild that crown going this way. Basically a D on its side shape, or a C shape, whatever way you want to look at it. And we're going to build that up. I'm going to tape up the whole fingerboard once I've given it a clean. I'm going to clean it with some naphtha. Now the closest thing up to naphtha in England, well it's not the closest thing, it is naphtha, is basically, we know it as it's a Zippo lighter fluid, which is this gubbins. And this will remove any grease we've got anywhere. It'll slightly dry the wood out. It'll evaporate. I'll just put a lot on there. There you go. And this will be nice and clean for when I want to get the tape on there, because we're going to tape between the frets, just so we can get these frets crowned. There you go, so that must come off there a lot. Mucky muck 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 muck. And there you go, you can see it's all dried off now. I'm going to tape up the fingerboard. Once that's done, I'm going to bring you back in and we're going to get to crowning these frets. Right, moving on to crowning the frets. I'll just explain quickly again. We've levelled all of the frets, so we've got flat tops going that way. They're flat. We need to rebuild what we call the crown, and that is an arc going that way. I'm going to build it up because what I want is, we want where the string hits the fret, we want it to be quite a thin piece. We don't want it to be a full width of the fret because it will create buzz. So we build a crown, and we're probably going to have a flat top of no more than probably about 1/2 millimetre. So to build that crown, in the olden days we'd have used a 3-cornered file with safe edges, and we'd have rolled the file over on the far side and rolled the file over on the near side, and we'd have gently rebuilt that crown from scratch. But nowadays we don't need to do that. You have what is called a fantastic piece of kit here. It's called a Z file by Stumac, and it is not cheap. It cost me £125 this, and I'm going to show you it's a diamond file. So it's flat surface encrusted with diamonds, which make the cut, and you've got nearest you a long cut, nearest to me a short cut. Turn it over 180 degrees, and it's opposite, nearer to you a short cut, nearer to me a long cut. Just a few strokes each side, flip over, and it'll remove material from both sides at the same time. One sharp, one flat. Same again when you turn it over 180, and it will not touch the top of the fret. So it'll rebuild your crown. It won't be perfectly crowned, but that's where this file then comes in. This was a gift to me from Nigel Roberts, ex-owner and founder of Leicestershire Luthier. It was out in Thringston, but his apprentice and protege, Danny Lint, is now running the business, and he's just moved out to just off the M1 there near Kegworth. And I'm going to use this just to round off the crown once I've done it. So without further ado, always clean the file, or make sure it's clean, and watch how easy this is. And there you go, nice thin black line down the centre. Going to give the file a wipe. I'd still like a thinner line than that across the top, so I'm going to keep working it. And again, I went to see Danny at Leicestershire Luthier on Saturday last, and I took my files with me because he uses a slightly different technique to me when crowning files, and he was that impressed with this file, he's going to go and buy one. This, by the way, should have been Danny's. Nigel gave it to me. He says, "Why is Nigel giving you that? It's better than the ones I've got." It is a great piece of kit. But anyway, once we've done it with the Z file, we've got a nice thin black line down there. We're going to come across and we're just going to round it off with this one. And because we still have that black line on the top, we've not removed any height, so we know that the fret is still going to be level. There you go. No rock anywhere. That one's done. I'm going to move on to the next one. I'm going to show you one more, then I'm going to whiz off and do the rest off camera. Really, really easy. And that again is beautiful. Clean the file. Move on to the other one. Again. Got a nice black line going across the top, so we know we've not lost any height, but we will just check again. No rock anywhere. Go across to the next one, and how good is that? We've maintained the height across the two frets, but we have rebuilt that crown. These still have to be polished yet, but we'll move on to that once I've got all of the rest of the frets crowned. I'm going to crack on, I'm going to do the rest of them off camera. It's going to take me quite a while. I may not come back tonight. I do have a church thing on tonight in about 1 hour. I may come back when that's finished. It'll be a Zoom meeting type affair. But I don't know. If I don't come back tonight, we'll continue with this tomorrow. But either way or in either case, I'll have a camera on anyway, so you'll see what's what. Morning fret friends, I'm making the most of the time I have spare now I've been furloughed, and it is just after 6 AM, and I'm going to crack on and polish these frets. That one needs a little bit more crown, and there's a little bit flat on the top, I've just noticed, just seeing it in the light properly. So let me just grab, when you've got the light shine on, you can see how wide the top bit is where it's been flattened, so I'm just going to finish this one off. So polishing, really simple. 7 grits of sandpaper. Start with 400 to remove the main scratches, and then I've got 6 more grits, going 600 at the top, 2000 at the bottom. So your grits are 600, 800, 1000, 1200, 1500, 2000. I'm just going to polish this way. What polishing is going to do is it's going to remove the scratches. It's going to bring the frets to a shine. And remember, we've just crowned these so the tops are really scratched that way, so we're going to polish this way. With the 400 we're only going to polish the tops just to get those scratches out. When it comes to using the other grits, we're going to get right into the corners each side, then over the top. So this is going to take me a while. I've got 20 frets times 7 polishes with sandpaper, 7 different grits, and 1 polish with the finest grade steel wool. So I've got 8 grits, so in effect I'm polishing 180 frets. It's going to take a while. It's not my favourite job, but it has to be done. It's not terrible. But there's one done. Move on to the next one. 178 to go after this one. So I'm going to crack on, get that all done. Once it's done, pull the tape off, we'll glue the nut back on, and we'll look at getting the base set up. So I've finished polishing, been through 7 grits of paper, then steel wool. The frets are beautifully scratch free, shining. That's after the levelling and the crowning, so fantastic. I get to take the glove off now and do the best bit, which is peeling off the tape and seeing how fantastic these frets look. I'll just do a little bit of clean up of the fingerboard, because as you see I've worn through some of the paper with the polishing in certain areas, but that'll all be cleaned up anyway. And now you see why I put a strip along there, it just makes it easier rather than starting at each fret and peeling 2 bits of tape back. You can get a good start doing it this way, like so. And it's not foolproof, it doesn't always come off in one go, but it certainly is easier than doing each one individually. Those frets look stunning. And there we go. So that's all the tape removed. I can throw away the glove and paper. We'll use a do it all again. But what we're going to do now is we're going to spray the fingerboard with some mineral oil. You know it's lemon oil, it's not lemon oil, it's mineral oil. This is formulated for the darker fingerboard woods, i.e. ebony, palfaro, rosewood, and subgenres of those species. And then we're going to give a good generous coat in there, let that soak in. Any muck in there will float to the top, we'll just wipe it off later. This will also slightly nourish the top, stop it cracking. Some people say it does, some people say it doesn't. I'm more of the inclination that it actually does, because I've seen dried fingerboards that have not been treated with lemon oil or mineral oil, and they're all cracking and splintery and not very nice, and not very well. So I'm going to leave that in there 10-15 minutes. I'll come and wipe that off with a bit of kitchen roll later, and we'll get a good cloth on there, get everything all polished up nice. So I can take a break. I can now have a cup of tea, and I've got a cup of tea right here, a cup of organic tea, beautiful, in a nice pint mug. And I'm going to take a break for 10 minutes, and I'll come back, we'll get all this cleaned off, get everything wiped down, remove the tape from the guitar, and we're going to get the strings back on. After we've given it a clean, get the strings back on, get the bridge back on, and we're going to set the thing up. Just going to show you the frets before I put the guitar back together, and I'm going to have to unfortunately show you upside down because I don't want to smash my front window with the body of the guitar. I might just get away with it. There you go. I reckon those frets look magnificent. Levelled, recrowned, polished. I've just glued the nut back on. We've gone with some Gorilla super glue, Gorilla Glue, but their super glue version. So that nut should be fine now. It should already be stuck back. I'll put the strings back on. I'm going to set the guitar up. The bridge needed setting up. The bridge was not set up correctly at all. So I'm going to prepare everything, get the bridge on, get the strings on, and I'll come back up when I start the setup, and I'll show you how we go about setting everything to where it needs to be. Back in a minute. It will come as no surprise to hear that a bass is significantly easier to set up than a guitar. So I'll put the bridge back on, put the strings on. I've got the strings, I've got the guitar to pitch, and I'm just measuring the amount of relief under the 7th fret. And on a bass, I like to go something around 0.3 millimeters. That's the gap between the bottom of a not straight edge and the fingerboard at the 7th fret, which is just a little bit loose here. So I'm going to tighten the truss rod just a nudge up. Just want to hear this. There you go. Just touching the not straight edge. That is absolutely fine. So we're going to check for tuning, because we're going to check the intonation. I've not checked the string height above the 12th fret yet. So let me just go and check the fingerboard again, because these strings are low. But I have slightly lowered the bridge. Right, that is looking absolutely fine. That nice little bit of relief in there. 0.3 millimeters at the 7th fret. Going to measure the height between the top of the fret and the bottom of the string at the 12th fret. I'll be looking ideally for something around the 3 millimeter mark on the bass side, and 2.25 millimeters on the treble side. Don't need the tuner just yet. I've not actually checked this. I just lowered the bridge to where it looks okay. So I'm going to do this right now. I'm going to do it on my knee, so you're not going to see much. Just check the gap at the 12th fret. Right, we're about 1.75 on the low side and about 1 millimeter on the high side. So we need to bring the bridge up slightly. Got to take a screwdriver and just adjust the bridge, both sides. Keep measuring until we're where we want to be. 1.75. I may go even a little bit lower. I might even try 2.5 mil on the bass side, 2 mil on the treble. A nice low action, because with that bit of relief in there we should be absolutely fine. We are 2 mil on the bass side. A little bit of buzz there, still need to go a little bit higher. Should have really done this off camera. But you get to experience it at the same time I do. Right, we are 2 1/4 mil on the bass side. We're still too low on the treble side. And I'm going to need a larger screwdriver than that, so bear with me a couple of seconds. I'll stop the camera, I'll get a bigger screwdriver and I'll be back in a second or two. All I really needed was a slightly bigger screwdriver just to turn those. I went with a nice big one there to get the toolbox out of the way. So we have an action of 2 1/4 mil on the bass side and 1.75 mil on the treble. So we're going to look now at setting the intonation. Turn the tuner on. I've got to stretch these strings in yet. Pretty good. Right, so with the G string, harmonic is in tune, and the 12th fretted note is in tune, that's fine. So far so good. Slightly flat there. Perfect. So the intonation is absolutely bang on. So that really is the bass set up. I have the relief set at 0.3 millimeters at the 7th fret. I'm just going to check that again because the strings and the neck has had time to settle while I've been setting the intonation. Blah blah blah. I don't want too much of a relief gap there. It's beautiful. I'm happy with that. At 0.25, that's perfect. Again, action on the bass side. Anything around 3 mil is pretty good, so 2 1/4 mil, which we are, is quite low, and it's beauty, it's fine. Let's see where we are. We are at 2 1/2 mil, happy with that. And on the treble side, 2 millimeters. I'm really happy with that setup. All I have to do now is just stretch these strings in, and the setup is done. The guitar will be finished. So I'm going to stretch these strings a couple of times, tune it back in. Once it's tuned back in, get it in the playing position, tune it again. Once I'm happy with it, the bass will be finished. We'll come back and I will tidy up this video. Bit of an unfortunate happening right there. When I was setting the bass up or stretching the strings, the D string snapped, which is very unfortunate because I don't have a spare set. And it snapped right at the bridge end there, which is a shame, but fortunately I did have the guitar set up correctly anyway before it did snap, so I've let the owner know. He did offer me a new set of strings when he bought it, and I says it doesn't need new strings looking at those, and it didn't, but it will be having one. But anyway, that aside, the bass is finished, and what a beautiful instrument. I've owned a couple of these in the past. I even owned the Pro version as well. Lovely, lovely basses. They look fantastic, they look stunning. But let's just remind ourselves of what we've done with this one. Well, the action was really high, so we've sorted that out. The frets were all over the place, so we've levelled, reprofiled and polished the frets, and they do look absolutely stunning. We've set it up. I have the action at just about 2 1/4 to 2.5 millimeters on the bass side and 1.75 millimeters on the treble side with 12th fret. Relief wise, I have 0.25 to 0.275 millimeters. That's 0.275, by the way, not 2.75. Under the 7th fret, which is fantastic. The bass plays beautifully. There are no buzzers, no fretting out anywhere. It looks stunning. And what more can I say? Epiphone T-Bird or Epiphone Thunderbird bass. Beautiful piece of kit, all ready to go. One thing left for me to do before I do go is to remind you of my website. Best place to find out anything about me or anything about Fret Friend is, which is me, is on Facebook. So you'll want to be going to facebook.com/ng17. That's facebook.com/NGONESEVEN. I am Victor. I am your Fret Friend. Until the next time, as always, God bless you. Be good to each other. And I'll see you in the next one.